Is this the dagger?
Welcome back to another episode of the Shooters Roll. It's your boy T. So today we have a video sponsor, our first video sponsor. So our friend Chris at Shirts and Suits, or Suits and Shirts, he's been on the podcast and he runs his company. So if you want a sexy hoodie, here's the deal for you. So he's having pre-orders at $80. But if you mention the Shooters Roll, you get $10 off. But this deal is only till midnight tonight. So we're going to share this on all our social medias after this podcast and get on it. So onward to today's topic. So the NBA is back. And let me introduce the crew for today. So first of all, we have the man. I call him the Magic Man. D-Swizzle.
Magic Man.
And we have a guest speaker, which is he's at the moment he's a dark brother.
Dark brother.
We have Lloyd. How are you, Lloyd?
Going good, man. Appreciate you guys having me.
Good having you on, mate.
It's good to be here, especially for you guys.
Lloyd. He's I've known him to be in the game with the comments for multiple years, over 10 years. I'll basically put a list of all his achievements on the screen. And it's great to get his view. So someone new of just talking basketball. NBA's back. So how you guys feel about that? Just that basic news. Lloyd, I guess you first.
Mate, I'm telling you, 85 days since we've started, like we've had just a disengagement from it. We need it back. We definitely need it back. Yeah. We've got the NRL back. We've got AFL starting here in Australia. We need something from something that is appeasing to watch.
Preach, brother.
We need something back, and especially for the guys that are just basketball oriented, especially like kids that I coach. This is what it's all about. Like it's NBA this, NBA that. So they need this back. I need this back. It gives us something to work towards. It gives in these times with COVID, we've got other things happening around the world. Something like the NBA would just give a positive influence to everything we do.
The passion, I love it.
Mate, even though it has been announced that the NBA is back, it's still a long period for it to officially commence. But in saying that, it's progress and it's forward motion now. Teams are going to start gathering their troops together for some early scrimmages, and then look, sooner it's going to come. It'll come when it does, and really looking forward to the commencement of the games. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, let's get into it. So the Board of Governors met, and they're saying that playoffs will contain 22 teams, and these games will be played at Walt Disney Company in Orlando. So it's going to be a competitive campus for all games. I guess they're going to house everyone in a bubble. So the 22 teams with the limit of 1,600 people is the capacity. So they're saying that in terms of the family, there's going to be given three people per family, per player, that can be on site in the bubble at all times. This will allow them to stay connected to their family, but there might be an issue because a lot of these players have bigger families than 3 people. So let's start with this discussion. D-Swizzle, what do you think about that the player limit?
Oh, look, I think if it's for the benefit of the league and for the games to progress on without too much of a drama, I'm not caviling with the limit. I think it's a smart move to try and get some sort of conclusion to the season, and I think that's the ultimate goal here is to have the season concluded with an eventual undisputed winner. And I think that's the goal for the 22 teams that are still left in the comp. Sad to say that my New York Knicks are one of the 8 teams not featuring at Mickey Mouse Land, but they're the sacrifices we fans have to make for the greater good of the game. So yeah.
I think that's going to go to for every year, but yeah. And
They said New York was going to be a problem anyway because they need to quarantine for 14 days out of NYC. So they would have always had a problem if they finished training camp and did things like that. They were always going to have a 14-day hiatus from everyone. So they were going to struggle to do anything. They couldn't get in practice facilities, couldn't do anything. So even if they were amongst the mix, they would struggle.
Sure. Okay. So let's look at, I guess, the 22 teams. So it's not set in terms of what the playoff is going to be. There might be like a seeding for games. There might be in-game tournament for the 8 playoff teams. What are your thoughts on that, D-Swizzle?
I like the fact that they've brought back the teams that have still got a realistic shot at contending for a playoff berth. 6 games out was the bar. So you get 13 teams from the West still competing for the 8 slots for the playoffs. Only 9 teams coming back from the Eastern Conference, with Washington filling up that 9th spot at the moment. Look, I'm happy and content with the 22 teams that brought back. The West is going to be a real dogfight to get into the playoff seedings. And it's going to be interesting to see how key personnel react to playing games when they know they're still got a shot. I'm particularly focused on here Dame Dollar, who's made comments in the recent week that, you know, if the games don't matter, he's gonna bench himself. So it's just interesting to see the mentality involved in some of the key players.
And Lloyd?
Yeah, mate. Look, I'm with D-Swizzle. Like I think that the teams that they've got right now are gonna be in that mix. If Dame Dollar doesn't put himself forward, I mean, you look at their record right now, right? So they're sitting just outside in that West. Can they chase Memphis down? But then the other thing that Wodge had during the week was with the 8th and 9th teams that determine that, if they get within 4 games of 8th, they can play them off to play in that 8th spot. So they have 1 game to get it done. So say they chase Memphis, get within 4, they can maybe swing 8th and then climb in. But the problem is they've either had to play the Lakers or the Clippers in that first one. So you're sitting there and you go, let's just climb in. Let's just get it. Don't be negative. Don't be saying, if it doesn't matter, I'm not getting in. Just get in. Just get it done, man. Get in that 9th spot, climb within Memphis, and then knock Memphis off and get in the playoffs and make some noise. Sure. That's as you as a competitor. Saying that I'm going to bow out because it doesn't matter, that's not a competitor. Get in and compete, bro. It's not your rap game. Get in and rap, bro. Get in and rap for Portland. Get in and make some noise. You know what I mean? You can make some noise on a microphone. Make some noise with your game. Go and drop OKC like in your last shot. You know what I mean? Go and do that to the Lakers or the Clippers if they climb in first. Go and do that and then make some noise. Represent yourself. Don't represent just, everything that you do in your other game. Represent yourself as a basketball player. Represent yourself as an athlete. You talk about athletes all the time. This is him. This is what he wants to do. So get in and climb in. Phoenix, maybe not.
Let's get into it. Lloyd. So the 22 teams that are in. So it's going to be 13 from the West and 9 from the East.
Yep.
So I'll just list all the teams, and then we'll basically get into, I guess, possible matchups and who we think are our favorites. So on the top of the East, you got the Bucks, the Raptors, Boston, the Heat, the Pacers, Philly, the Nets, Orlando Magic, Washington Wizards.
Yep.
And then on the the West, you have the Lakers, Clippers, the Nuggets, Utah Jazz, Oklahoma, Houston, the Mavericks, the Grizzlies, Portland Trailblazers, as we mentioned, Pelicans, the Kings, the Spurs, Phoenix, and that rounds out the list.
Yeah, see, I got a problem with the Spurs. Like, I wear this, right? I see the Spurs, right? But then you hear today that LaMarcus Aldridge has shoulder surgery, so he's out the rest of the year. So you lose the guy that's 18.9 points per game, 7.4 rebounds, 2.4 assists. He's out. He's done.
Yep.
So they need to find something for him. Can they do that within training camp? Probably not. Does DeRozan need to step up more? Well, he's averaging more points per, and everything that per game in this season than he has in his career. It doesn't look like it, but numbers state that he does. He's 2.5 points at more. He's rebounding better and he's assisting the ball better. So can he do much more than he needs to for the Spurs?
So keep going, Lloyd. What's how about the rest of the Spurs? Are they is there any injuries or is there any concerns?
No, so the big concern for there is getting a mobile four. So guys like Jakob Poeltl can't do it. He very European, but he's not a perimeter shooter. So they're going to struggle in that regard. Perimeter shooting, if you're going to talk about the Nuggets, I saw you guys put it up on the Instagram page. Nikola Jokic, he's got some abs. He's talking about getting some abs. Now that's going to be a lot of players. That's going to be a lot of players that are going to come back and they're going to be looking condition. They're going to look fit, but are they game fit? Are they game ready? You're going to have a week of training camp, but are they going to be able to play at a level that they would have played with having 5 weeks of training camp? Getting sprints, getting stuff done, getting sets in. They've done individuals, but you and I know, and probably a lot of people, individuals don't mean it's game practice. Getting in and guarding someone, getting in and getting down the floor, making shots under duress, making shots late in game when you're tired. They're big things you can't do in individuals. So a lot of these guys are going to come back and they're going to feel frustration. It's going to be frustrating. They go, I should have hit that. Why haven't I hit that? They get in a negative headspace, but they've got to grow up. So I'm looking forward to this to see who in this 22 team thing is going to be able to grow up as a group and become the one that without a training camp, without an elusive season, is going to be able to do it in a short-term span, and that's going to be really fun.
Yep, definitely. So D-Swizzle, I'll come to you. So with the Bucks, they were dominating the league, right? And this pause and not having home court advantage. What do you think about the Bucks' chances?
Look, they're a strong team. They're number one for a reason. I think the break, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing for them. They were going to rest Giannis anyway this time of year. It just means that players on the fringe that otherwise wouldn't get a lot of game time will now pick up more game time. Look, I'm not worried about Milwaukee stepping up. They'll have a first round against Orlando or Washington. Look, Washington, I don't think will get there. They're 5.5 games back. They need to be within 4 to get into a playoff situation with Orlando for the play-in. I just don't think they've got enough Arsenal there at Washington. Any word on Wall? Wall seems to be bit, but whether or not he risks playing this season, I doubt it. But even then, like you said, Lloyd, some players aren't going to be game and match ready for what looks like to be an 8-game regular season finish for each team. Look, I don't think that the Bucks are going to be worried about Washington or Orlando for the first round of the playoffs. I think it's going to be a bit of a walk in the park for them. The test is really going to come in the second round for them, as well as in the East final. Yeah.
Sure. So Lloyd, we were discussing before the podcast, Orlando's advantage because they're the home team. Do you think that if they went up against a matchup against the Bucks, do they have any advantage there?
Look, I'd love to play at home. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is almost a home facility for them. This is a practice facility. So these guys have that ability to commute between practice facility and home. So they do this on a regular basis when they are at home. So you have your commute times down, your parking spaces, this and that, and things like that. It adds an advantage. Miami, again in Florida, they have that ability to commute. Now, if they want to commute the drive, the 2.5 or whatever, or they want to stay and they bubble them like they said, that's fine. But these guys have that accommodation to Florida weather at this time of the year, and then further moving into, say, if the playoffs start, around that time, that July, end of July, they have this accommodation where the playoffs would already be finished. So things like that, they have the accommodation to it, and I like the fact that it's going to be level ground. Just turn up, play your hardest, get stuff done. Like whether you're going to be the Clippers, who can't make an excuse now for load management, that's all gone and dusted. You've had 85 days to sit there and go, now they're rested. There's no load management now. Get it done. So there's no excuses. No excuses for anybody, but I like the fact that Orlando's, at home. There's a little bit of me as a kid with Shaq playing with Penny. So I've got a bit of love for D-Swizzle right there. With
D-Swizzle the jersey.
I got D-Swizzle there right with his jersey. I got a little one. It doesn't fit me no more because, just when I was a kid, but I've still got my Orlando stuff here at home.
Well, for the advantage, I think it's a bit lessened because there won't be a crowd. I think a huge part of the home court advantage is the hometown support. But on your point, Lloyd, I like the fact that it's pretty much do or die now. It's everyone level playing field. I look at the West and who's remaining in the West, with LA may hold on to the number 1 seed after all, but mouth-watering potential first round playoff, maybe with the Kings, maybe with the Pelicans. Who knows if both those teams can catch Memphis for that last seed, but certainly going to be a great first round matchup. And then it's gloves are off. That's it. It's ready to rumble at that point.
All right.
Yep. Okay, let's move on to the Raptors. So I think they've been a surprise team for this year, coming back from a championship and then losing their marquee player. They've pretty much kept the whole team together except for Kawhi, and they've shown their heart in every game. So, what are your thoughts, D-Swizzle, on the Raptors' chances of repeating this year?
It's going to be tough. I don't think anyone's going to get past the Bucks from the East. Siakam's a great player, but he's not Kawhi, and Lowry's got another year of mileage in his legs. Anunoby hasn't stepped up the way I thought he would.
I agree.
I think they're still missing like that knockout punch. If they're going to take, Milwaukee in the East Final, they're going to need something of a killer blow to get them out. Just my thoughts on Toronto. But look, great season. They're having a great season. And there's no reason why they can't continue that for the remainder and into the playoffs. Yeah.
Yeah, Lloyd?
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, I agree with this. I feel like that piece is missing. Just something where you, late in game or in a situation where there's a run, they go to someone where Kawhi would be in last year, where he plays in that 45 and above, and he has that little 1-2 dribble back down, and he hits a mid-range. And he gets the crowd going if they're at home. Or he silences a crowd in a run away from home. I feel like they miss that piece, but they've got a great coach. Nick Nurse is probably one of the better coaches in the NBA as a second-year coach. Like, if you're talking about me as a coach, I would probably base everything off him because he expects guys, doesn't matter, we're missing a key piece. You make that shot. You be the guy that makes that shot. You know, he's going to ask things of guys. Siakam, you need to do this. Larry, it's great. You know, you're getting in the ball. You're creating havoc around it. You need to be smarter. You know what I mean? You pick up your 5th foul in the 3rd quarter, we've got to sit you. Siakam, you pick up your 5th in the 3rd where they've last 3 games. Siakam picks up his 5th foul in the 3rd quarter in the last 3 games. He's got to sit. Then it goes to Ibaka. Ibaka and Gasol have got to do something. Then they're guys that just, they fringe. You know, they're their role guys. So, but I like Toronto because of the way that Nurse has got these guys playing. So I feel like the coaching through the East, like you talked about Toronto, Boston, Miami, Indiana, and Philly, geez, they've got some good coaches. So if it comes to a game of playing between 7 away from everyone's advantage and it's just level ground, geez, I'd hate to play them. I really would.
Good thoughts there. So my dark horse now that there's no home crowd advantage is the Boston Celtics. Do you think about rolling up to a basketball court open run? You look at the players they have on their team. Like they don't have that star player like Giannis or something, but they have like a bunch of players that you would choose to be on your squad. Guys that can rebound, can take their man one-on-one, pretty much play multiple positions, right? Yeah, D-Swizzle, we'll start with you with this one.
Look, I like Boston's team. I like the balance they've got with Kemba, Tatum in particular. Jaylen Brown's had a great year too. You know, they play an attractive style, and they're not bogged down by a big man in the middle. I mean, Tice has had a good year for them, and he'll continue, I think, starting for them with Cantor off the bench. But look, with the 85 or so days in lockdown and with the season suspended temporarily, I think it's been good for Kemba. Of all people, it's been great for Kemba to get this time off because he played in Team USA. He's had a long year and injuries have caught up to him this year. And I think it is a blessing in disguise, this down period for him, because no doubt he'll click into gear after 2 regular season games, and then he'll, you know, that Boston team is going to look different because they're not going to be, you know, managing injuries, especially Kemba's injuries, for the run home.
Yep, I agree. And Kemba comes off that Olympic campaign where it was very, very poor for Team USA. So, you know, he probably has something to say about that too. He's probably going to come off and go, look, I wasn't great in that tournament. We finished 8th in the world, and now he's had a break. He didn't get much of a break. He would have had 3 weeks before he went straight into training camp. That's not ideal for a quality player for Boston. But I like it. That's what you say. Like he's had that time. No excuse. He's going to come out and play hard, and he's going to be all about it.
Sure. Yeah. Hopefully we get Charlotte Kemba, All-Star Charlotte Kemba. That'd be awesome.
Yes.
Let's talk about some more interesting teams on the East. The 76ers. Because Rosie's, of course, Ben Simmons is giving him time for his back to heal. It's reported that he will play. Thoughts on that, Lloyd? I'll start with you first.
Yeah, look, I feel like that, like I said, you know, Boston through to Philly, their coaching style is almost similar. They request so much of their guys and they want so much. But that media attention between Philly, you know, Embiid and Simmons, when Embiid's not there, Philadelphia play a certain style. You know, it's not lackluster. It doesn't play to a guy trailing down the floor and, you know, having him catch and, you know, make plays. They just get on the run, they play. So I feel like the media plays into that role as well. The media for, you know, and because of their crowd, they're passionate supporters. That Simmons and Embiid dynamic. Hopefully, with the week of training camp, they can get their stuff together. I don't like that me versus him in the same team sort of thing. Just play together, man. If Simmons wants to get on the run on a fast break, let him go. He wants to go and drive and pitch the ball to someone, and someone shoots it. Sweet. Embiid shouldn't drop his head there. Maybe Embiid probably should have beat him down the floor and got the first touch. So sort of things like that. That's what I think about Philadelphia. I feel like they struggle in that. Whereas Indiana, if you go the current Milwaukee, Orlando, Toronto, Brooklyn, Boston, Philly, Miami, Indiana, I feel like Boston would topple Philadelphia in 5 games. Miami might sneak past Indiana in 6 or 7, but then that round there, geez, that'd be hard. So I feel like Philadelphia as an Aussie, like myself, I feel like the Simmons and Embiid thing, hopefully they can get over it. And, they've had 85 days to grow up. But if you look at Twitter and everything, maybe they haven't grown up. So hopefully it can work for maybe get another Aussie a world championship.
Definitely.
Your thoughts?
D-Swizzle?
Oh, look, I'm loving the current where the teams are currently at. I'm loving this 3 versus 6 matchup with Boston Philly for the first round. I've penciled that in as a great first round. A lot of the first rounds though, when they come about, the interest isn't there until really the East semis. But that with the history and the beef, and I think it's a great first round. And look, Philly isn't as strong as they were in previous years. So it is going to be interesting how they match up with Boston, if the current standings hold. Yeah.
Sure. So the last team I wanted to discuss in the East was the Brooklyn Nets, right? We've seen highlights of Kevin Durant literally dunking and playing at, looks like it's full speed. But the reports is he won't play. But we heard about that in Game 6 last year, and he did play. So I'm holding on hope as a fan that he does play, and there's a matchup between KD and Giannis. That's just being selfish. Your thoughts on that, Lloyd?
Oh, that you know what? Selfishness wins. Sometimes we might get that. Do you know what? If Brooklyn can, somehow it stays as it is and they get past Toronto, geez, that'd be a good series to come back to. As you go, I'm coming back. I'm playing. Let's go, Giannis. You, me, let's go. Similar height, similar length. I've had a lot of time off. I'm ready to go. That would be like for a fan to say that's to get them going. And without a crowd, that's something that would entice people to just log into an NBA account, create one, and just get watch the playoffs. I feel like that would be something special. Kyrie as well. Can they play together? We don't know. Hasn't happened yet. Kyrie's great in his own element. If you add Durant in the mix, it could be lethal. Could be Kyrie with LeBron where he hits that final shot where the ball goes to him and he makes a big shot. Can it go in reverse? Can Kyrie create for Durant to make that last shot and make it something for Brooklyn? I just feel like their coaching changes are going to hurt Brooklyn a little bit more. So they did get rid of their head coach 5 games before we finished.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think you're creating a man's drama, all these headliners and all these scenarios that we can look forward to if it does happen.
Jesus, wouldn't that be good? Jeez, that'd be good. Just give us something in this, this pandemic and all this other stuff around the world. Give us something to pep up about. And if they restart the season, 3 months later, geez, we're looking forward to something else in that time too. So I feel like it's exciting for everyone who hasn't had much to get excited about in the last few months. So I love it.
Definitely.
Just on Durant, look, I heard the news, and prior to the news coming out, I went on my fantasy team and picked up Durant a week ago because I knew he was getting close. So I don't take too much stock in him saying he's not coming back because I haven't dropped him yet from my fantasy team because I don't know what that guy's going to do. He says one thing and he'll do the other. I'm just hanging on to him on a injured reserve spot at the moment, but that would be something that would be great, but not really smart in terms of longevity if he was to come out and get hurt again.
Yeah, but he put his name down for the Olympic team, which would be playing now. So
Sure.
I know the Olympic team is probably more of a training camp because they're not playing against strong competition. But if he's ready, then we want to see him on the court. Selfish as it is. All right, let's head over to the West, where I guess all the powerhouse teams are. Let's start with LA, right? So they've built this team chemistry before the
Which LA team,
COVID-19.
mate? Because
Only LA team. Only
I don't
LA
agree
team.
with that.
Are we talking LA Staples or LA? What's the other one? The from Space Jam. What do they play? The Lakers
What?
back then. Nah, the what is it? Not the Emporium. That's where the Clippers want to move to. So
Yep, that's right.
that- so
Well,
they
we're
wanna
discussing
move-
Lakers, right? Discussing Lakers.
There we go. We're going Staples.
Lakers. Yeah, Laker fan at the moment. So yeah, so they built this really team chemistry, and they beat the Bucks and the Clippers just before the break, right? And you can see that they kind of got over the hurdle. Like the Clippers and I guess and the Bucks were always there were question marks like, oh, who's going to win? Who's the better of the three? And the Lakers made a statement on that weekend by beating both teams by margin. Your thoughts on the break, Lloyd, of the Lakers and their chances of claiming the crown?
Yeah, like I said to you earlier, I feel that break now about individuals. So guys going back to home and things like that. Like a lot of guys went back to home. So people like Davis don't have a home in Los Angeles himself. He lives in, he's got base in Chicago.
Yeah.
So he has to go back there. He may work out from home and things like that. The guys that get conditioned in the full court, so they've got one-on-one individual workouts at home. Do they have a full court? Not everyone's got the sporadics of money like LeBron, so they can't afford a full court. They can't afford getting in the egg for recovery treatments and things like that. I feel like LeBron, he may be ready, but I don't like it. For a week's training camp, Davis a week's training camp, then having 2 weeks before they play. So you're talking about having a week of intense go about it, then have 2 weeks of maybe exhibition games and things like that. Then you've got to go and get into it. Now, if it goes as they want to go, they may play, the Nuggets, Utah, Oklahoma, or Houston in that first couple of games. But that would be tough, because LeBron being his age, he goes and plays against guys, OKC, Houston. Let's go Houston. A lot of young guys. And they're upbeat and they play that bad tempo. Quick pass, quick shot. That means he's got to get back, get going. I feel the Clippers may just be at that age where they can maybe mature better than a LeBron Davis. But that's just me, just looking at the scope of how this is going to go before we start a playoff thing. If they stay in that top seed, they probably want to play Memphis first up. Maybe not, it would be worse if they played the Nuggets or something because they're young, youthful, and they want to go. So it's probably better they play Memphis, who are inexperienced.
Sure. D-Swizzle?
I don't think anyone's going to catch LA, but that is the Lakers for the number 1 seed. They're currently holding a 5.5 game advantage with 8 regular season games. I think they'll hold to the number 1 spot. But as I mentioned at the top of the show, I'm intrigued about the first round matchup that they may have against, currently Memphis, but the Pelicans or Sacramento. I like Sacramento because they're getting their players back and they play fast. Fox will be back. Bagley will be back. Heald's been up and down, and I think given an 8-game stretch, I think they can really catch fire. And Sacramento is my dark horse team leading into the home stretch of the regular season. Aside from that, I don't know if the break's going to be that great for LA, but I suppose every team is going to manage. Everyone's in the same boat. The reports I read during the break, the suspended season, were, a great majority of players didn't have a basketball hoop to train at. Couldn't even make it to the gym because of the restrictions. So that's going to be interesting. Not having all this money and no basketball hoop in the backyard. I just it's the condo life. I think that's what's happening here. But it's going to be interesting to see how rusty a lot of the players are going to be. when they come back.
Yeah, you can't get down to Kmart and get a ring for $60. You can't get down, get a $60 ring with all those millions. It's tough.
No, in the backyard, there's a truck full of money, so then you can't clear it out of the way to build a court. So this is real life problems, all right? So, but
Socioeconomic class background problems. Yeah, I hear you, John.
Look, I think I've got a topic on this, and let's segue into this. The modern game is built on the efficiency of the three-point shot and analytics that go with it. With the season being on hiatus for such a long time and the players going to be rusty when they come back, how quickly do you think they'll adjust to coming back is the first question. And then secondly, will they divert away from what we now know as the efficient game being the three-pointer? Because there are going to be a lot of bricks being thrown out there.
I think a team style can't really change, right? It's the personality of the team, the DNA. Or even if you have a break, like you know, Lloyd, when you coach a team, like you kind of have a broad style of what you want the team to do, but then you got to see what they do well. Like we always talk about, Lloyd, when we coach, you focus on three things: what the team does well, and those three things can always be different. But the main thing is defense, right? And then tempo, and maybe there might be passing or shooting. I'll hear your thoughts in a second, Lloyd. So I believe that the DNA of a team doesn't change as often, and being the new modern NBA, everything's going to be about threes regardless, right? So we're seeing record numbers broken every year, and you look at the Houston Rockets, which we'll discuss next. They're going to jack it up like no tomorrow. Thoughts, Lloyd?
Yeah, look, I agree with you. Like, if you can create a good culture of what you want as a basis, it's very hard to detract from that. Good option is Chris Paul being in Houston. His three-point shot when he was at New Orleans and everything, that wasn't his game. Then he developed one when he was there, but it wasn't his go-to thing. He didn't love doing it. Right, so he goes across to OKC, and he shot probably 200 less threes at OKC than he did in Houston at this time. But he's averaging the same amount of points. Why? Everything's in the mid-range. It's where he's comfortable. That wasn't the culture that he liked at Houston. OKC's given him a different culture. That's what you said. You build your team around what culture you can build. So that's what you say, Houston. Houston's going to let it fire. That's been their Achilles heel, in the last couple of playoffs. Can they sustain that for a 4 series to make the finals? Can they make the finals and shoot that ball that well? So far, no, they can't. Can they do that this year? Maybe. That's why I keep going back to Denver. Denver's a team that I always look at and go, geez, they're really good. 43-22, that's a really good record. But when they come to the finals and they need to shoot the ball well, they don't, especially at home. They shoot better away than they do at home. Maybe in Orlando, they might shoot the ball better. Who knows? We might get to that series where they shoot the ball incredibly because they shoot really poorly at home. Maybe so. But I like what you said. It's about creating that culture that you have in each group.
Definitely. So let's talk about the Rockets, D-Swizzle. I think the break's done them good because you got PJ Tucker playing center against 7-footers where he's 6'5". The modern game's changed. So Tucker can play center, but I could see before the break he was just when he was worn out. Like just getting hammered under the wing. Like we've heard Andrew Bogut, the Australian center, played for the Golden State, and he mentioned it when he went through the championships, just the grind of like having big guys just bumping against you all day, every game. If you can wear down a 7'1" center, he got a 6'5" center playing for Houston. So now that he's got the break, he's got the energy. What do you think about their chances towards winning the championship, D-Swizzle?
They're really in the thick of things where they're seeded at the moment. And in saying that, they're only 2.5 games behind third seeded Denver. I mean, the West is just going to change I think it can change dramatically in Orlando in terms of the regular season playoffs. The regular season games that are remaining. And who knows who will be their first round matchup. I do think that getting back to the point about the team's identity, they are a 3-point shooting team. They'll go for layups and dunks and 3-point shot. That's the 3 shots in their arsenal, and they're going to stick with it. And like you said, they're not going to change our identity halfway or 75% through the season. So I think they're going to live and die by the 3-pointer, live and die by James Harden and Russell Westbrook. I mean, Westbrook was playing well until the suspended season. So their chances, it's going to be interesting when they play 4 short guys, five short guys on the court at any one time, revolutionizing the game, I suppose. So look, we'll see. A lot of people don't like to watch them play. I personally, they're not my favorite team to watch play, but they're good at what they do. Draw fouls, shoot 3-pointers. That's their identity. Whether or not they shake the LA teams, I'm more siding to no. I don't think they've got the depth to outlast any of even the top 4 teams at the moment. I don't know if they've got the depth to do it because they play their starters huge minutes, and I think fatigue's really, really going to be a major factor given the layoff, the comeback, and then they're going to accelerate to 0 to 100 really quickly here in Orlando, and their starters are I think their starters are just going to get zapped, and I don't think they're going to have enough petrol or a bench to cover that. So no, I don't think they're going to do well.
Any more to add, Lloyd, for that?
Yeah, look, I agree with D-Swizzle. Like I feel like they're going to struggle. Like you say, he plays the starters to death, D'Antoni, and they have to play multiple back-to-backs here. So if guys are going to play 42 out of 48 one night, then they're going to back up and do the same the next night, have a day off, and then do it again. It's going to be hard. You mentioned the name earlier, Trungi, Andrew Bogut. Right, so just some insider trading here. He was offered 2 contracts before it all went to, before COVID came in. So Houston was one because they were trying to replace the Capella rim protector and guy that just rolls to the rim, dunks the ball, right? And the Lakers. He was going to either or. Before that happened, now there's no more signs. So there was 2 that he was going to go to. So there's a big one for you. He was going to go to those 2 teams. He had an option. That would have been nice for LA. I mean, they can go and play, guys like JaVale and whatever, and Dwight Howard. They can go to town. I feel like Bogut may not have fit in there. Bogut going to Houston probably would have added value to them. They get a 7-footer. They get a guy that protects the rim, rebounds the ball, and he rolls to the rim, sets good screens, and can finish at the rim. So that probably would have been nice for him to go to, barring COVID-19. So, there's a little bit of insider trading.
Oh, that's exclusive, Lloyd.
Hey, I get a bit of King's info from you, mate. That's what I said. I get all that information, just having all those little contacts. So, that was where he was going to go to, mate. I'm telling you. So that would have been nice for him to go to Houston.
Yep, I appreciate that exclusive, Lloyd.
You got it, mate.
Let's talk about the other LA team because people want to talk about it. Personally, I don't really have an opinion on them. D-Swizzle.
I have plenty of opinion on the LA team, that is the Clippers. You know what? The break would have done them well with Paul George. I think it's time for Paul George to step up.
Okay.
Had an up and down season. Injury hasn't aided him at all. But you know what? They're going to get fresh. Their team's going to be fresh. Savvy veterans, dogged defenders. I think they will make a very, very deep run, if not make it all the way to the NBA Finals. So there's my take on it.
Here's your pick.
There's my take. Though I did say from episode 1 of the Shooters Roll, the podcast made by fans for the fans, right from the get-go, that my choice for this season's NBA champions was Denver Nuggets because of their balanced team and the consistency of their team this year. We will see how they will go come the pointy end of the season, but I like the Clippers. They've got this killer. I think they've got this killer mentality about them. They're just their personalities on that team are just savage. When you think about the style of play and the way they throw themselves at the ball with Harrell, Beverly, George, Kawhi, and balancing all that, you've got Shamet who can cover the 3 ball. I just think that they've got a really good team and one that will take the crown away from the glitz and glamour of the LA Lakers. How about them apples, Trung? How about them apples?
Blasphemy. Lloyd?
Look, I'm going to take after Kawhi. I'm going to have some load management. I've said a lot. I have some load management. What do you reckon? I have some load management here. No, I agree with D-Swizzle. Like, I think they've got a good balance. Doc Rivers has probably enticed some guys that he wanted to. He's got Harrell that is like a Garnett, He's got a Paul George like a Pierce, and then he's got a bulldog at the front, Ed Beverly, and he's got Kawhi that's just he's going to be a constant, so he can go anywhere. But I like the fact that Beverly's at the front of the front of it, and he sets the tone. Yeah. But when Harrell comes in, and then you got Lou Williams, we didn't say Lou Williams. He comes in and he shoots the absolute hell out of it. He's your Ray Allen. If he's going to piece anything to his Boston legacy, he's got those pieces. So it's very, very tough. Yep. They're going to be good. They're going to be good.
The last thing I wanted to talk about in the West was the Pelicans. I was pretty happy that they were chosen to have a chance to go to the playoffs, mainly because of Zion. Seeing him play and seeing his dominance and his body type, it's dunking on people. It's exciting to see. We've got also Durant fighting off for the 8th playoff seed. So we've got a bit of young guys that have a shot to get in, and Dame Lillard. D-Swizzle, what do you think about the Pelicans?
I think they're a dark horse team. I still prefer the Kings over the Pelicans, though I haven't seen any photos of Zion. I mean, this break, I'm sure he's been active, but not game fit. I worry about his weight and the impact that the suspension of the season has done to his fitness. And that's my main issue, because the worst thing that can happen is to aggravate an injury from, full inactivity to going straight to game mode. There's a big risk there for heavy set players like Zion.
Lloyd?
Yeah, his longevity is going to be a problem if he stays at that, 285, weight range for pounds. I mean, Shaq could do it for a long time because he was 7'1". He can play in that 300 to 320 range because he had the size. At 6'5", 280, that's a nugget. That's a bulldozer that comes in. I feel like they are a dark horse. I feel like them in Portland and like the dark horse for D-Swizzle is, the Kings. If Portland have Dame Dollar and, the Pelicans have Zion fit's the big one. He has to be fit, not fat. Fit. If he gets that done, then he might be a problem. But I'll go Dame Dollar if he plays. I'd like to see Portland slide in and make some noise over Memphis. I'll go that.
So final thoughts, I guess, on the teams before we move on. Did you guys want to discuss any of the teams that we haven't discussed yet?
Look, I mean, I don't know if there's much to say about Phoenix, but we haven't covered Dallas, and I think Dallas have a good shot at making a statement in the postseason, subject to the way that Luka has handled himself over the break. He is a top 5 player, and he was playing lights out well into the season, during the season. It's just phenomenal play that he had. But to challenge the LA teams where they're currently seated, they would really need to have a wriggle on to avoid the 2 LA teams. I think if Dallas can get some seeding, a better seeding, and maybe play Denver or Utah in the first round, I think that they can get through that first round hurdle. It's just going to take a lot for them to beat either of the 2 LA teams. At the moment, they're playing the Clippers, and they're not going to beat the Clippers.
Agree.
Lloyd, any teams that we didn't discuss that you wanted to do special mentions?
Look, I like Miami. For some reason, there's something about Miami just sitting in that 4th spot, just coaching through, the middle of the pack. I feel like Spoelstra does a really good job with that group. I mean, he did with, the big 3 that he had, but he's done a good job with the guys that he's traded too. So he's gotten rid of Whiteside. He didn't like him, didn't like his personality, didn't like everything about him. Fine, get rid of it. Get a guy that comes in, and it plays hard. And he's got Adebayo. He's got Butler. We don't speak about Butler at all. He's flown under the radar.
Mm.
He doesn't have that personality that he had, in Minnesota. He didn't have the personality that he had in Philadelphia. He doesn't have that sort of demeanor about him. He's not about criticizing the team. He likes the guys that are there, maybe because they've got a good practice regime. They play hard. He might like that, and he might come good in that. So I feel like Miami might just slide under everyone's radar, and if they pop through and they beat a Philadelphia, they beat a Toronto, can they? Do they make a statement? What have they been doing since? Who knows? No one said anything about Miami. So I feel like Miami just sits in that middle of the bar. They just, they're happy to be there. No one speak about us. They fly under the radar, and then they become the dark horse. So I feel like they might be one of the teams to watch out for in the East as well.
Good points there. So I just want to discuss one more topic, right? So with COVID-19, there's a danger, right? If you contract it, I believe that you can't play, and you have to sit up for 2 weeks. So think about it. What if a whole team gets it, or your superstar gets it? It changes the whole playoff race. So imagine the Lakers play Portland, and the Lakers somehow lose their both superstars, and that changes the whole series around. Like, does the what are your thoughts on something like that happening? And if a whole team gets it, what does the league do? Like, do we just get the G League team in? D-Swizzle?
Look, I think what the NBA is trying to do is not have the season shut down again. And I think they're putting in policies now to make sure that even if one player gets it, the show will go on. And but to your point, where there's a real danger where they still haven't figured out everything, because no one's figured out everything, is if a whole team goes down. If they hold the mantra that the show must go on, if a full team contracts it, I think that would be the end for that team for that season. I don't feel sorry at all if the team will have to miss out on progressing if the whole team catches it. The important thing is to isolate the people catching it, and making sure that those who don't have it don't catch it. And if it means that a whole team will miss out on it, progressing on, then I think that's the price to pay to get an eventual winner of this season. Tough breaks, but the league's made some tough calls. I mean, 8 teams not progressing on with their season. I think that was a tough call. And making sure that there is going to be a bubble and restricting personnel going in and out. I think, is the tough calls that need to be made in order for the season to produce a winner, because that's what we want. We want a winner out of all this.
Definitely. Lloyd, what are your thoughts on, I guess, that topic, and any last comments for our viewers?
Yeah, look, I agree. If you, like they said, was their first thing was isolate the individual, and then they've got to monitor the following staff. So if it's a player, they monitor the playing. If it's a member of staff, a coach, or a therapist or anything, they monitor everyone. If it comes down to everyone, they're out. Everyone slides up. It doesn't seem like too hard for me. You know the repercussions of what we're doing. We want a winner. So it's the Lakers, they lose first seed, out years go, Clippers move up, Denver, everyone moves up, Memphis slide in, and Portland slide in, or whoever. I feel like that's just going to be the way. It is what it is. Apologies, but we want a winner. Get yourself together to be ready to go the 1st of December 2020, so we can get a 2020-2021 season done. So I feel like that's going to be the big thing. Just let's get a winner, and then let's move towards achieving something going forward. Let's get an 82-game season going. Not 71 like this one may be, 63 and 8, whatever. Let's get it done. Let's get a season, and let's move on. Let's leave 2020 as it is.
Cool. Yeah, great thoughts there. So yeah, thanks Lloyd for coming on the podcast today. Your views. I'll probably speak for D-Swizzle too. That your views are very unique. Being a coach and also having all these connections to the NBL and the NBA players. So I definitely hope to have you on the panel again.
I appreciate it, and good watching you guys. I appreciate you guys so much. So thanks for having me. Chungi, you and I go back a long way. So appreciate you, D-Swizzle. Nice jersey, bro, but I don't think so.
I'm just representing Mickey Mouse, mate. And you know what? I could probably cover it up when they do exit the season with, what was it, Truggy? For one of the deals today is a hoodie.
Sexy hoodie.
A sexy hoodie.
What's the details again for it?
Yeah, it's suits, shirts and suits. We'll basically put the links on after this podcast. We will link it up to our socials, and people want to pick up a deal, go for it.
Sounds good.
So, D-Swizzle, last thoughts?
Mate, I'm excited about the progress that's happened in the past week with getting the season underway, and I'm sure that all NBA fans feel the same way about that. So bring on the season, bring on the games, and bring on the winner.
Great words there. All right, fans, it's great, but we're out of here. So if you're following us on social media, if you're not following us, follow us. If you subscribe, like our videos and share, it helps us create this and keep on creating it and bring on panel members like Lloyd. We're basically trying to bring more views to, I guess, our platform and just look at the game from all sorts of angles. So if you're a player, a referee, we'd love to have you on the show. So subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.